What is an ICHRA? And more importantly, should you be interested in it? Why do you need to know about it? Hi, this is Kathy Bukowski. I'm the owner of CV Health Insurance, and this is the Small Business Benefits YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to answer the question, what is an ICHRA? ICHRA is an acronym, right? ICHRA stands for Individual Coverage. HRA stands for Health Reimbursement Account. Individual Coverage Health Reimbursement Account. Most people have heard of an HRA, an employer reimbursing employees for certain expenses. But in this case, the employer is giving money to the employees to buy an individual health insurance plan. So, how does it work? What are the key advantages? Well, there are some significant advantages, I suppose, to do this. First and foremost, it can be what we call a cost predictor for the employer. You know, the employer is deciding a defined contribution, a fixed dollar amount that they're going to give to the employees every month. It might be $350 a month, $500 a month. They're going to give them this money so they know exactly what their costs are. So that's an advantage. Second thing is that it can offer employees more choices, because if they go to the individual marketplace, they can actually shop amongst different insurance carriers. So you can offer all in one. They can go shop at, the Blues or the Anthems or the whatever and find the plan that best suits their needs. Number 3 advantage would be escaping what we call the experience rate ups because your group has bad claims. So for example, in the under 50 market, it's kind of fixed because it's ACA, but there's been significant rate increases, double-digit rate increases the last 2 years. However, in the 50 and above, typically they look at your experience, your loss ratio, and also they do this when you're self-funded or level funded. So they're looking at that, and you can really get dinged. When you have an ICHRA and you're giving a flat dollar amount, you can change that year over year, but you control the cost. So you're not going to experience this out of control rate increase. Number 4 advantage would be you can offer this and address seasonal employees, part-time employees, remote employees. Remote employees can be offered a group health plan. However, there might be some restrictions. If you're in one state, but you have employees all over the country, this might be another good option because they can pick a plan in their area based on their needs. So there was a case study done by one of the ICHRA vendors, and they had a manufacturing company that had about 59 employees, and they got a double-digit rate increase. So they offered an ICHRA, they moved everybody over. The employer saved, ready, 30% in the premium. And guess what? The enrollment went up. They doubled the enrollment, people that wanted to participate. So it can work. However, what are the downsides? Let's talk about this because it is not for everybody. First and foremost, individual rates can be higher than group rates. And this is absolutely the case in the state of Illinois. I recently quoted a gentleman who's looking at hiring employees and currently has an individual policy. And we're looking at the same company to company, same bronze level plan. And he's in his 50s, his wife's in his 50s, he has a 12-year-old. We would say give him better coverage and save him $500 a month. That's significant. So in the state of Illinois, we do have higher rates in the group marketplace. Last year, I think the rates went up on average 16 to 20%. And the state of Illinois legislation passed a ruling that said, because the carriers that offer different level plans, these are from bronze, silver, gold, platinum, they have to have an actuarial value, but they were able to kind of manipulate the numbers. And for the silver level plans, which has 2 subsidies, and what happened was state of Illinois legislation said, no, the silver plans have to stand on their own. And what happened with one of the carriers, their silver exchange plan went up 56 to 60%. In fact, I think it even is more money than a gold plan. The gold plans went up 6 to 7%, and the bronze plan went up 22 to 26. This is one carrier in the state of Illinois. I'm just citing statistics. So that's not good, right? If plans are higher than group rates. Number 2 disadvantage, in the individual marketplace, at least in our state, but many states are this way, there is no access to a nationwide network. So if you have employees who have kids that go to school in another state, they're only going to have emergency coverage, or they might have no coverage, right? Well, depends on if it's an HMO or PPO. So they have no access to a nationwide network. In the state of Illinois, the marketplace plans, I don't think any of them, Children's Lurie's Hospital does not accept any of them for an individual policy. So that's out of network. You can't access that hospital. I'm not sure about University of Chicago, but they have limitations as well. So the disadvantage is that you can't get access to these networks, which are available on the group side. Number 3, employees cannot receive a subsidy. When you go to the marketplace, you can get a subsidy on your own if you're below 400% of the federal poverty level, right? If you're getting money from the employer and the employer is deducting it under an ICHRA plan, the government says you can't double dip. You can't get money from the employer and go get a subsidy. So subsidies would be wiped out. So that's a downside. And last but not least, there's no COBRA. There's no continuation because it's not a group product. It's an individual policy, right, that you're buying, which is not a big deal because, oh, by the way, the person can go keep the policy, just pay the premium. So when does an ICHRA make sense? It makes sense if you are a self-funded employer with unaffordable claims experience, right? You're getting this big, like the manufacturer example, double-digit rate increase. It might save you some money. Number 2, if your company doesn't offer a plan and you want to dip your toe into offering something, but you want a fixed cost and you don't want to have to deal with the rules and regulations of a group because some of the carriers have participation requirements. They require the employer to pay a certain percentage of the premium. So that is another good option for some people that are just starting out. Number 3 would be if employees are located in a geographical area where, oh, by the way, they have very good individual health insurance rates. So, that's a bonus. And last but not least, small business is bearing the brunt of the rate increases, right? If the business owner, the company is taking on the vast majority. Now, there's another way around this too. Change your contribution, right? If you're currently paying, and I've seen this, companies that want to pay to recruit and retain good employees, they'll pay 100% of the premium. But at some point when you get double-digit rate increases, you can't do that anymore. So you want to switch and have the employee contribute. So maybe you go to 75% or 80% contribution for the employee, 50-50 for the dependents. And obviously in that situation, you want to set up a POP plan, which I did talk about in another video, so that the employees' contributions can be pre-tax. So good industries, I'm told, nursing, general merchandising, manufacturing, transportation. But note, if you want to set this up, you want to deal with a vendor that not only can set up the documentation, the ICHRA documentation, because there is some paperwork involved, but they also have an online portal. They make it very easy because when you're dealing with different states' employees, you want it to be streamlined. You want to deal with a carrier, for example, like NextSpen is a company that does ICHRA. And of course, ask your broker because your broker is going to have information and it's going to bring this to you. So what is an ICHRA? It's an individual coverage health reimbursement account. The employer gives money to the employees. They go shop on the individual marketplace. It could be on or off market, but they buy an individual policy. We hope you found this video helpful. Until next time, this is Kathy Bukowski, the owner of the Small Business Benefits channel. Thank you for watching.